Gavin Newsom says the quiet part out loud about illegals voting. And in Chicago, more violence means let's have more social programs. This and a whole lot more coming up on the Afternoon Drive. Hi, I'm Pastor Marty, and this is the Afternoon Drive. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and once you are, make sure you smack that bell, click the word all. That'll give you notification of my rants, my ravings, my undeniably flawless, perfect reasonings. Please like and share this video. Really, it is the only way that we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of the Afternoon Drive. On a recent podcast, which apparently is all Gavin Newsom does now, he's kind of like Dr. Fauci. You know, even during the pandemic, I never quite understood how this guy who was supposedly in charge of, getting America better and back on its feet, ever had time to do that, since he was never actually in a lab working with other doctors and scientists, because he was on every internet, podcast, telecast, station, national coverage, local coverage. If it was a station with 2 watts of coverage and it covered, an entire, housing development, Fauci was on it 24/7. It's all he did. Well, apparently that's all Gavin Newsom does. And on a recent podcast, he made this statement.
Do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that.
Freudian slip. What he's saying here is that if ICE is outside polling places, voting places, we're going to have a problem. The illegals won't show up to vote because they're worried about being snatched and deported. It's going to quash, here in California, it's going to quash participation. That's exactly what he just said. Legal American citizens don't have anything to worry about if an ICE agent is standing at the door. Legal Hispanic people don't have anything to worry about if ICE is at the door. And I got a hunch. Call me wild, call me crazy, but I got this strange feeling that no one who is actually not an illegal will be the least bit intimidated to go vote if they find out that there are ICE agents at their polling place. I don't care whether they're white, black, brown, Hispanic, Asian American, etc., etc., etc. If they're an actual U.S. citizen, they're going to go. I go all kinds of places where there's armed guards. You go to a sporting event, you go to a concert venue, sometimes there's police, sometimes there's sheriff, sometimes there's state police, sometimes there's even a presence of the American military there. Doesn't bother me because I'm obeying the law. It's really a simple concept. What Gavin Newsom is admitting is, especially in California, where they don't use any type of voter ID because somehow that's racist, which saying that is actually racist. Because when you say that people of color don't have the ability to procure identity, you understand what you're saying? Well, they're too dumb to know how to get a driver's license. So I'm supposed to now assume that when I drive through certain states that don't want to enforce any type of voter ID, that every person of color I see operating a motor vehicle is doing so illegally because they don't have a driver's license, because they can't figure out how to do that, because it's racist. You understand how racist it is to even insinuate that? California has had some of the landslides they've had for the libloon causes that they've had because the illegals are voting. They're busting them in, they're gathering them up off the streets, they're giving them money, they're giving them food to vote blue no matter who, and that's why California is in the shape it's in. And that's why Gavin Newsom doesn't want ICE agents at the polling plazas.
Meanwhile,
unfortunately, as is typical in Chicago over a long holiday weekend, the murder rate and violence rate went up. This past weekend, over 58 people were shot. We have had over 20 people end up dead. And what does Governor J.B. Babyback Pritzker say? Hey, violent crime in Chicago is under control and it's on the way down. We don't need Trump. We don't need the National Guard. What does the mayor say? Well, the mayor says he's ready to fight. Not fight the crime in the streets. He's ready to fight Donald Trump. To fight, take to the streets, to keep Donald Trump and the National Guard out of Chicago. In the meantime, he's got dead bodies. Dead bodies. What does he want? Even Joe Scarborough tried to get it out of him. Hey, if we could give you more money for cops, would you take it? I want the money for social programs. Okay. I'm going to tell you something. I know I've shared this before, but when I first got into the ministry, one of the first places I did ministry was the inner city of Chicago. I know Chicago very well. I worked a marketing job in downtown Chicago in the Loop. I had an office in the Insurance Exchange building. I have walked the streets of Chicago. I have dined in the restaurants of downtown Chicago. I could tell you the best place in the Windy City to get pizza. I have been, before they were torn down, the Cabrini Green projects, which were fictionalized in the TV show Good Times. Did youth ministry there. Worked with teenagers there. Work with kids there. South Chicago, where a big chunk of the Blues Brothers was filmed, walked all those streets. Know it well. Believe in community outreach. But until you get the bullets under control, till you get the shooting under control, which, again, the mayor of Chicago is blaming on red states. We got the strictest gun control in the nation. These guns are not coming from our streets, they're coming from the red state. What? What? Gangbangers are driving to Indiana and walking into stores and purchasing guns? Is that what you're trying to say? Because, even in a red state where owning a firearm is legal, there is still a process. You have to show ID, that thing that you don't want to show at voting. They scan your ID, it gets sent off to the FBI to find out if you've got a criminal record or a criminal background that you're not allowed to own a firearm. I've purchased firearms legally. I know how it's done. So it's the red state's fault that there's gun violence in Chicago. This is the epitome of the intelligence of the leadership there. They want to fight Trump, Babyback Pritzker, who wants to be the Democratic nominee. So he and Gavin Newsom are in a mad race to who can out-stupid the other one. And so never admit that they've got a problem and that Trump could be a help to the problem. Bringing in the National Guard, no, it's not the be-all, end-all, fix-all. But what it does is it immediately gets the violent crime to drop. It gives you a chance to catch your breath and get a plan of action in place. And it gives you the resources that you need to get some of the criminal element, the illegal criminal element that is really wreaking havoc in your city, gets them off the streets. Thousands of arrests were made in Washington, D.C. You can walk the streets of Washington now to the point the D.C. mayor, who is a libloon herself, wants the Trump surge to stay because it's working. But the governor, the mayor, we just need more social programs. And what happens when the gangbangers show up at those social programs, like a community sports program?
In Chicago, everybody got to get down. Everybody got to get down because they shoot. Everybody down. Look, these kids are running. They shooting. We can't have no fun in Chicago, man. No fun, man. This is terrible. I ought to throw a goddamn flag. Cause this y'all neighborhood.
This might be over with, but I gotta figure this out.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Until the bullets stop flying, you can't have these programs. But of course, that's not going to stop CNN from doubling down that this is the way to go. Now, about a week ago, they sent one of their crews into Chicago to interview people off the street how they would feel about Donald Trump sending in troops. And of course, they didn't pre-screen any of these people. They were just legitimately picking people off the street. And it went 9-1 in favor of, yes, please have the president send help. So they did it again over the Labor Day weekend, only this time it was a little bit more pre-scripted. They found the people they wanted to advance the narrative.
Send mental health in. Open more facilities for us. Give us more opportunities. Stop closing the school down. Send those people in. Don't send the military in. If what we're doing is working, it may not be working as fast as you would like it to work. None of this all happened overnight. Chicago is a beautiful city. I want my kids and I want my grandkids and I want my nieces and my nephews to enjoy these parks. I want them to enjoy the museums, the many things that Chicago has to offer. And we're progressing at that.
For said,
this is a calling for me.
The fate of his city, he says, won't come from boots on the ground, but ears to the ground.
I would never say that it's not beneficial for the government to send resources and help. I beg President Trump to send the right resources, but as far as sending a National Guard, I believe that it will put us in a situation where the whole city of Chicago will be right back where we started.
I'm going to make a statement here that's going to sound rather cold, rather harsh, rather judgmental, but I got a feeling I'm spot on about this. Now, I'm not going to say that these two guys are necessarily doing this knowingly, willfully, but whether they realize it or not, they're grifting. They're grifting off the violence and death of young people in their city. Send us more money for more social programs so we can have more nonprofit gyms and community centers and hire people like me to run them. We don't need boots on the ground. We need ears on the ground. Listening to what's this liberal utopia doesn't exist and it gets people killed. You're going to have no success with these programs as long as violent criminals are allowed cashless bail and to keep roaming and preying and hunting. Let the National Guard come in. Let there be a surge of law enforcement. Get these violent, gang-banging thugs and criminals and illegal aliens who are committing crimes. Let them get them off the streets. Then we can talk about implementing other long-term solutions. But first, the bullets have got to stop flying. Do we understand that yet?